All right, and we're going to keep moving forward. We want to find out what this is all about as far as cleansing ore goes, and see what happens when Traherne fulfills his purpose, his reason for being, at least as he understood it from the dream, is to cleanse ore. And now we are on the brink of doing that. We have fully penetrated into ore via like a naval armada. Now we're gonna try and help Traherne do this thing just as soon as we kill the champion Ooze King, because God knows if there's one thing standing between us and the successful cleansing of ore, it is an Ooze King, apparently. Alright, go team. We're gonna grab this this waypoint as well. Alright, Traherne. What's this business about?
Greetings, Commander. This is Havroon Gretchen, one of the spirit shamans of Holbrek. And you already know War Master Larenthir of the Vigil.
You're an inspiration, Commander. Many believe that if we can defeat Zhaitan, Jormag will be next. Your deeds bring great hope to the Norn.
Indeed. Sylvari sing of your victories, and even the Char raised battle cries in your honor. You've been a spark to many flames.
I hope today will bring another victory for Tyria. Marshal Traherne, what's our goal?
I have created a ritual that might cleanse a dragon's corruption. If it succeeds, this mission could be a turning point in the war. My research suggests that the royal tombs were deeply sacred. They may still hold the connection I need to restore the land with Or's fading life force. If the dragon discovers our attempt, he'll try to stop us. Havroon, you and Larenthir will defend the mouth of the tomb. Give us all the time you can.
We will, Marshal Traherne. By the bear, I swear we'll hold the line or die trying.
Alright. So let's escort Traherne so that he can begin this undertaking. And so this is, as I mentioned a couple times now, this is his whole thing, right? So he is closer than ever to fulfilling his purpose. He's right there on the brink of it, which is, I assume, a really exciting thing. I would imagine being that close to fulfilling your life's purpose. I don't know that we. Let's see. How many Sylvari in the game do we actually see do that? At least a few. And yet I don't know that we ever get a good look at what that actually means for them. Having said that, we're gonna try and help Traherne do this. Now, of course, the benefit to us is that it should facilitate our ability to defeat Zhaitan as well. So that is also a pretty good thing, and thus a worthy undertaking, right? All right, everyone good?
We're clear. We need to keep moving. They won't just step aside. Get ready for a fight.
I dodged too late. Embarrassing. So I do wish there was a little bit more.
This is Azabe Kabar. Gretchen, you and Larenthir must hold the entrance. Zhaitan's forces will be relentless. Our survival is in your hands.
I understand, Marshal Traherne, and I won't fail you. You'll have the time you need.
I do wish there was a little bit more in the game. kind of related to the Norn understanding of like the other world and the afterlife and like higher powers and all that business with the shamans and the spirits and stuff. Um, they tried to give us some of that in a in like some much later story, well after this. But I feel like it didn't really develop things enough. So each of the races, right, like has a different vision of what that is, and every one of the races, like, it's valid, right? The Char maybe a little bit less so, because the Char are kind of it's not that they're atheists. They're not atheists. There's not really room to be like an atheist per se in the world of Tyria, because the existence of all these things is like indisputable. The Char simply like choose not to participate. They're like, we believe in the power of Char or whatever. But more importantly, like the other four races all have like very defined ideas of all that stuff, and all of them are true, all four simultaneously, and yet. And the Char, prior to choosing that route of being like quite humanist, but for Char, also had true beliefs.
The moment we begin, Zaitan will know. Be ready for anything.
So it would be kind of fun to see some storylines where like some of this stuff is reconciled, where the eternal alchemy and the spirits of the wild and like the dream and the human gods and stuff, and then the myths and what are the myths, and is the myths where all those things converge. Like, it would be fun to kind of see that. Now, of course, there would be some danger in the studio, like kind of trying to over-explain it, and that kind of going like badly. But I don't know. Like it'd be fun for me. I don't know how they would do it. That would require a lot of work. It would require a lot of thought. All right, so while I'm over here running my mouth, Trahearne is actually like doing the ceremony to cleanse Or. That's what this is supposed to be. Hey, hurry it up, bro. Like, oh, he's... Apparently this is intense. Like, look at his legs shaking and stuff. Oh, what? We got people... Oh, no! So here's another example, right? This was Havrun Gretchen just a minute ago. Now she is Risen Gretchen. So another example of, like, being converted to Risen happening, like, spontaneously, right? We've seen that before. We saw it in Kaida Mance as well. Oh, look at this. What's happening? A thing is happening. A Calibolg and vines and all the whole business, right? Oh. That actually looked kind of negative.
No. We were so close. By the pale tree, it's impossible. All this, all these lives, wasted. All for nothing.
Trahearne, didn't you see? The cleansing worked. For a moment, the spirit of the land rose up like a breath of wind.
We all felt it. It was as if Or's own soul was fighting to be free. The ritual was a success.
But the absolution didn't hold. Though sacred, the royal tombs weren't strong enough. This isn't the heart of Or. I wonder if such a heart still exists.
Wait. Remember the vision that the pale tree gave us? An Orion king spoke of the source. Maybe that's something that can help.
You're right. The source of Or. Yes. I think I remember hearing about such a thing. A priestess of Grenth and a shaman of the Norn spoke of it.
Those sound like solid leads. Which should I follow?
That, my friend, I shall leave to you. 2 roads to the same goal. The cleansing of Or, and eventually Zaitan's own demise.
Okay, so again, we get choices. And that's pretty straightforward, right? Like anything that I could have said about that is actually said by the player character in this case. It refers back to when the Pale Tree gave us that vision, and there was this ghostly like King of Ore who said, "Hey, you need to find the source of Ore." So this is where Trahearne thought would be the appropriate place for the cleansing ceremony, but we actually need to do it at the source of Ore. So we got like two different options here. They're both pretty good. I'm kind of ambivalent on like which one to actually choose. I did not plan that ahead, and now I'm kind of like, which one? This one's kind of fun. This one we're gonna go with Grenth. I feel like maybe it's a little bit better from a lore perspective, but the other one is really quite fun from like a storytelling perspective.
We can overcome. You have my gratitude, Commander, for all you've done.
So the other one, the one we did not choose, involves like the crew of a Norn ship who kind of haunt Cursed Shore because of the demise that they met here, and their story and their experiences, and it is kind of cool. However, that's not the one we chose. So instead, we're going to literally try to find out, directly from Grenth, or from, his, his lieutenants or whatever the case may be, where the source of Ore is. So if you hit up these Karma merchants, this is unrelated to the story, but if you hit up the Karma merchants throughout Ore, then these 3 armor skins, you can acquire them for relatively cheap, right? Because you get the blue ones, not the green ones, because you can unlock the skin either way, and you can unlock those entire sets for those skins pretty easily. And if unlocking skins is your thing, then you're looking at 18 total skins across the 3 weights, just as you traverse Ore. Probably worth the effort to do that. There are also other skins that are associated specifically with the temples. Those are going to cost you a lot more in Karma, like a significant amount. I forget the total amount. I used to know the exact amount of Karma it cost because I used to use it to outfit alts, and the whole economy kind of worked differently then, but ultimately, even then, it was like a really poor way of going about kitting up my alts, because relatively like Karma has more valuable uses than buying the armor at the temples in Ore. It is an option if you're really hard up for an exotic set of armor, then it's an option. But it's probably not, with exotic armor being so cheap these days, it's probably not your best choice.
It's painful to see it so ruined.
Its foundations were shaken by the destruction of Ore, but it's still standing. Good work, Beth.
Of course its foundations were good. That's where they put the tubes.
Lead the way, Commander. Welcome, Commander. I've asked Priestess Rai to join us. Her knowledge of the god of death is unmatched.
I never thought I'd be standing here. The Cathedral of Silence, the first temple of Grenth and Tyria. This is the Shrine of the 7 Reapers.
Who were the 7 Reapers? Priests of Grenth?
Mortal heroes that fought beside Grenth when he defeated the god Doom and ascended to the throne of death. They became his avatars. I can still feel the altar's sanctity. The secrets you seek are here, but Orion rites were very different. I may not be able to call the Temple Guardian.
Don't worry. Where faith ends, science begins. This is my Voed. That's very old energy detector to you, non-geniuses. At this setting, it triggers old emotional resonance. visions of the past. When we get to the altar, we'll watch the image residue of the Orions and see what they did.
Excellent. Follow me then, and we'll find that altar.
Alright, so we should remember Priestess Rai. She was with us on the level 30 storyline for humans when we're looking at the different orders. We went with her to like a centaur graveyard to speak to the ghost of Elastia Crow, right? So she is at least in human circles, she is a necromancer of some repute. Apparently quite skilled because Traherne, as we recall, is also a necromancer of some repute. And yet he considers her to be like a foremost expert, right? And then we got Poka over here, and the Voed. Here's Kazak carrying the Voed. So if you do the Asura storyline, then you may encounter these two. The Voed is one of the things, I think at the 10 level, I really don't remember though, that you may encounter in the Asura storyline. I don't specifically remember what level it is or what choices you have to make specifically to access that storyline.
Time to do some real damage.
Oh, also of note, everything that Priestess Rai talked about there, I want to say Ree, but apparently it's Rai. Although Traherne's the one who said Rai, and he mispronounces everything. So, either way, the whole thing that the Priestess spoke about in terms of like the Seven Reapers and Grenth overthrowing Doom and all that business, that can all be seen in a raid. However, I'm not in a position to like heavily discuss that because I am not good at the game, and thus I do not raid. That's a little bit above my skill level, or even if that's debatable, and presumably I could raid, because I think probably if I can do T3, T4 fractals, probably I can raid with the practice and stuff. It's also not worth the stress for me, so I don't do it. But if you are the type to do that and you wanted to see what she was referring to, then there is a raid wing that shows all that unfold. And there have been some folks who have expressed like some level of dissatisfaction with the fact that there are certain pieces of lore that are like quote unquote locked behind raids. I'm not in that camp. I'm fine with there being some content that I can't play, and I'm fine with that content being related to the lore and the story of the game. Like, all those things are a-okay with me. I don't, I'm just not that hung up on it, to be quite honest. Alright, go team. So we pretty much cleared, but not quite. Now we got a giant spider.
I could outrun a centaur.
Oh, the door's opened. Risen Knight. So I kind of hate these guys, to be honest. It's because that right there will reflect projectiles. So if you're using like a longbow or even my axes that I've been using and stuff, don't do it during that time, or you're gonna wallop yourself right in the face, and you're gonna be a little disappointed with the whole experience. I think. All right, we cleared it out. Let's let this magic technology go to work.
Look, they're performing the ritual.
Oh, There. So this is almost like when we saw through the eye of Zaitan, right?
They plan to sear our nation as they did Ascalon. Vizier Kilbron says he can defeat them, but we must prepare for the worst. As Desmina did so many years ago, we shall call upon Grinth for his aid. If Hor dies, at least we will be with him. Where is the God to whom I give my undying devotion? Where is the God to whom I may beg revenge against those who scorn me?
In order to commune with the Orient, we should mimic them. Where is the God to whom I may
I
give
guess.
my undying devotion?
I should
Where is
kneel,
the
right?
God to whom I may beg revenge against those who scorn me?
Follow where I lead, come whence I call, and the corpses of the dead will be yours to control.
Whoa. All right. What's up, buddy? We have a thing to discuss.
Hail, Ancient One! Rise from your frozen tomb. I, your priestess, call upon you in the name of Grinth himself.
Who dares summon me? A true priest? Is there such a thing in this fallen land?
I am Grinth's servant, and we have survived many dangers to speak with you. Please, hear us.
I see in your heart that you are no stranger to death. Very well. I will hear you out. But in return, you will kill in Grinth's name. The keeper of this shrine has fallen to Zaitan. Grinth wishes him returned, but I am too weak to perform the task. Destroy the keeper, and I will answer your questions.
Thank you, Dark Reaper. We will do as you have asked.
Destroy the corruption. Return the soul of the keeper. Go.
Well, it's a good thing that's what he asked for. What if he had been like, hey, I need y'all to kill Shrieksy here? Like, would that have been okay? We're just gonna kill the raptor? The pet raptor? I forget who's it. Is it Poka or Kha'Zix? I can't remember which one. It's their pet raptor. What if he had said, kill Poka and Kha'Zix? Would we have been okay with that? But he didn't say any of those things. He was like, hey, go basically liberate the soul of the priest of Grinth. So when we were at the Temple of Lissa, I mentioned that I had never noticed that the priestess of Lissa within that story instance has a character model that I have actually never noticed and never seen before anywhere else in the game. It's like that's kind of unusual because most everything has like the same kind of Guild Wars 2, and it almost didn't even look like it belonged to Guild Wars 2, right? It looked like something out of a completely different game, sort of. It was kind of its own thing. And then I mentioned that there is one other model that I know of that is kind of the same in that regard, and we're about to see that one. I mentioned it was like this weird, like Lord of the Rings wizard-looking guy, and that it just plain looks different than like a lot of other Guild Wars 2 stuff. This corrupted priest of Grinth has that model, so we'll get a chance to take a look at it. And artistically, it looks more similar to that priestess of Lissa in that previous story instance than it does to any of like these character models. I really think when they were developing the game, they just bought some assets, kind of pre-created from, I don't know, whoever sells like video game assets. I know that is like a thing, outsourcing some of that stuff. And I think that was the case. And maybe they do it a lot. I don't know. I'm not a developer, but I do think in terms of like the disparity between that priestess of Lissa and this priest of Grinth that we're about to see, and a lot of the other assets in the game, the fact they look a little bit different, it probably is, has an explanation, something like that, I would think. All right, how far away can? There we go. So if you'll see, like that is that is completely unique, and we don't see anything like that hardly anywhere else. I think there's one or two other characters that have a similar model to that, but that is that is not really very Guild Wars 2-y. Like, it's different from their... Yes, I said Guild Wars 2-y. 2-ish. 2-ish. That's not really their style. So it is decidedly different. Let's see if we can get a close-up look at him before I get schwacked here trying to do it. So that's just completely different. We just don't see... Oh, now I'm going to get schwacked. We just don't see that, like, really, like, anywhere else. It's super interesting. Not a big deal. I just really kind of am intrigued by it. But now we need to kill him or he's going to kill us. Because some of the, like, the stuff that falls from the ceiling and stuff in this encounter, it will kill you if you let it. And these shades can be problematic also if you're not paying attention. So. Alright, did we get them all? Oh, here's the dude from before. Now he's over here on this side. Hey, guy. We did the thing. We killed the person, set their soul free.
We've done it. Praise Grin.
Praise the eternal alchemy, you mean? It was my device that summoned that creepy guy in the first place.
We've fulfilled our part of the bargain, Reaper. Will you honor yours?
So shall it be. You seek the heart of war, then you must go to the very beginning. The rock where the gods first set foot upon this world. There is an artesian well hidden in the mountains behind the temple of Melandru. There, you will find the place where ore began.
Thank you. We'll go there and cleanse this land of the dragon's corruption. Ore will once again be free.
Let it be so. I will see you again, hero. Wing of your enemy's blade.
Oop, apologies. Alright, I accidentally muted it for a second. Didn't mean to do that. Let's see. What do we got here? Alright, we don't have that one yet. Earlier I talked about unlocking skins. I love unlocking skins. Hey, good afternoon. It's one of the things that like consistently and is actually so I know that like there are folks who when the idea of like having multiple accounts comes up, there are people who immediately assume it's either because you AFK farm or because somehow it made sense in your head, and this actually makes no sense at all. But that somehow like you spent real cash money on like multiple accounts to farm mystic coins. Like that's actually like really absurd. It doesn't make any sense at all. But those are the two things I think that people generally think about when you talk about like multiple accounts. One of the things that I actually derive like great pleasure from on you know however many accounts I have on all across all those accounts is unlocking skins all over again and kind of increasing and unlocking masteries, unlocking like low level achievements, not ones where it's like, hey, I'm gonna play this instance 5, 6, 7 times until I finally achieve a thing, but like kill 5,000 spiders. Like I genuinely am happy every time I get that achievement on each account. Those are the things that is why I own more than one account. And also there was a period of time when the first alt account that I created, there was a period of time relatively early in the life of the game when people were kind of getting their accounts like stolen by like farmers who were using them as like bot accounts. It was not a good thing. The studio put it to rest pretty quick. That was also when they introduced two-factor authentication associated with the accounts. But during that time, I was like, oh, this is like a legit problem. And I created an alt account in case my primary account, something happened to it. Which is kind of an exercise in... Oh, I should watch where I'm walking. I don't want to say exercise of utility, but it's kind of a silly approach since why buy the second account until the first account is compromised? But that was my first step towards like having too many accounts, which I now definitively have too many. I'm not sure where the line is between like an appropriate number of alternate accounts and genuinely like too many accounts, but I feel like I've probably crossed that line at some point. All right, so have we in fact found the source of ore? And will Traherne's cleansing ceremony, will he be able to cleanse, or will it work now that we are here? We shall see.
Our best hope. You are our only hope. Your duty is to defend this entrance against the servants of the dragon, Zaitan. The torch of renewal is in your hands. Together, we'll ignite a fire to burn away the corruption and set Or free.
Nice speech, Traherne. I am more motivated than I've ever been. So a couple of quick notes before we begin. If you look around, regardless of some of the decisions you made in the story as you work towards this point, you should see a variety of people that are familiar to you. Some of them are here specifically because of the choices we made. So Fatokchak is here because we chose to research the script. Ellie is here, Scholar Inkblood is here because we chose that naval option in terms of how we were going to infiltrate Or. We see Galena Edgecrusher and Snarl Backdraft because we chose them to augment our crew, so to speak, when we were gaining additional people to help us prior to the Concordia thing, as I recall. So all these different folks, we even see Mira here. Remember, she got all jacked up during the whole Lion's Arch thing? So now she's back. Unfortunately, sans hair, I guess. She's got an eye patch, and if you look like super close, you can see they added like a texture thing to reflect like whatever the dragon did to, whatever it spewed all over acid or whatever it was. That caused that. So we see all the different folks here who are now, as we go into this kind of final engagement, they are here with us, right? The other thing that's worth noting, and this was actually mentioned kind of a minute ago when we were talking to the Avatar Grenth, and then I got carried away talking about skins and alt accounts and forgot to mention it. That Avatar Grenth said, go to the place where the gods first touched down in Tyria. So I mentioned yesterday, I believe it was, about the idea that the human gods are actually alien to Tyria. They come from somewhere other than the world of Tyria. And here's another reference to that. It's a really, really strange thing in terms of the lore. I'm not saying it's inappropriate for the lore or that it doesn't fit, but it's really one of like the really odd things that there's that hasn't been adequately addressed. If you feel it's obligated, like it needs to be adequately addressed, but we don't know a whole lot more than that about it. Yeah, we've never been more ready. Let's do this, man. Let's go. Cleansor.
This is it, Commander. The source of Or, the font of its magic. The water from which this land draws life. Our scouts reported an immense artesian well at the center of this cavern. The waters run beneath the city of Arar, and from there to every corner of the nation. If we can purify this heart well, then the magic will spread as the water flows, carrying our cleansing ritual throughout Or.
Is there enough life left in Or to power the ritual?
The heartbeat of the land is weak and thready, but I can hear it. When we reach the source, only then will we know.
Ready, pack soldiers.
Okay, so I do kind of wish that with this concept that, like, under here there's this, this artesian well, and its waters flow throughout Or, and maybe maybe that's where this comes from. And I would have liked to have maybe seen, and then we got some waters that go this way. I would have loved to maybe seen something that comes down this way as well. Although we don't see any of this as playable area, even up until today. So maybe there is, in fact, some waterway that runs this way. But that statement I would love to see reflected in the actual terrain. And we only sort of see it here, and then in terms of playable space, like here, but we don't get any of this, and we don't get this as playable space. All right, hey, you guys keep up the good work. All of our friends here that we made along the way they're gonna watch our 6. Hopefully, we remember how that turned out for like Havrun Gretchen, but just the same.
This'll be fun.
No projectiles, please. There we go. And we are going to approach an area that most certainly Zaitan is prepared to defend, right? Because Zaitan does not benefit from us succeeding in this ritual. By us, I mostly mean Trahearne, right? We're not going to be doing the ritual. We will be defending him while he does the ritual. So this part, when I was new to the game, this part would wreck me. Coming up here in just a second. And it's because I did not understand the point of it. Alright. 4 guards drop down to defend this final chamber. They are all champions. If you rush forward to fight these 4 guards, you're going to get wrecked. The point is not to fight them. So pretty much as soon as you trigger them, like within a couple seconds, the Sovereign Eye of Zaitan. So I guess this is the eye that is superior or more senior than all the rest. Okay, so the voice was kind of hard to hear there. Still so far away, are you that afraid? Come closer, we wish to see you more clearly. So this is, I guess, like the Sovereign Eye of Zaitan compared to the previous ones, which I guess that's, should be perceived as like the definitive Eye of Zaitan. It puts the attack from these guys to an end shortly after it begins. But if you run up there and stand in the middle of that attack, you are going to get 100% killed immediately. If you just trigger them and then just stay away, then they're zero threat, because that's not the point of the fight. This is the point of the fight. Oh, speaking of reflex.
Feel the fury.
Flesh and blood and fur. You are infinite.
Doesn't it? They'll have to hit much.
I actually feel like I should have equipped longbow for this. That really would have been preferable. But... So if it takes you long enough to kill him, then he kind of teleports around. And then you need to try and approach him wherever he ran to, and then he'll return here to the middle. Oh, I mistimed that. Horrible.
All the death around you. All those who have gone before you. Come to Zaitan and help what's happened to me. Why does it bleed so brightly?
Feel the fury.
My own hand, my own form. My mind is no longer controlled by the dragon's curse. Praise the gods, I am free.
Okay, so remember, seek the source. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the same guy, right?
Thank you, brave heroes. Whatever wind guided you to this place, I bless that gale. My name is Riza, and I was the last king of Or. When the dragon rose, it plundered the royal tomb of the Save Kabar, and used the bodies of my family to create its most heinous servitors, the Eyes of Zaitan.
The other eyes. Those were the kings and queens of Or?
Yes, we were chained to the dragon, corrupted into monsters that bore Zaitan's vision and carried out its will. One by one, you have freed us. I, the most powerful of all, was placed here to guard the source of Or's magic. Yet you have found a way. I am deeply grateful. For this service, I grant you an ancient honor. You shall carry the title
Champion of Or, from this day forward. Remember us as we once were.
Thank you, King Riza. I am honored, and I will remember you and your people.
Now, begin your final task. Cleanse this land. Restore what has been stolen. Confront Zaitan's power, and give Or a new beginning.
As you say, King Riza, it's time to wash away the corruption that dishonors this land. Rest in peace. We won't fail you.
Okay, so we're not quite done though. We've liberated King Riza.
That it's just you and me. We will claim
just you and me. Where is everyone else? Look at that. These guys who have lost their champion status. Apparently, when the Sovereign Eye of Zaitan died, these guys got a lot weaker. So now we can put them down pretty easy. No longer champions. So we still got work to do, right? Because the actual ceremony still needs to take place. And that's what Trahearne is working on. The music in this part's actually pretty good.
Time to do some real damage. I'm bleeding.
And I think we can understand what they were going for with the music here. Where we get, like, all this happening, but most of the audio associated with, not all, but most of the audio associated with this is, like, muted. And so we get, like, this, like, orchestral thing, but all this combat. It's very, like, you know, I don't know, like, Steven Spielberg World War II movie or something? I don't know. It was Band of Brothers-y, whatever.
It's done. I can feel the waters beginning to radiate, with the energy of Khaled Bolg flowing everywhere the water touches.
Trahearne, are you well? You look like you can barely stand.
The ritual has taken a great deal out of me, but I will live.
Let's make sure of that. Medic! We need a medic over here!
No need. Our work here is done, though the fight is far from over. We must regroup at Fort Trinity, and then we will have the opportunity to plan your next step forward.
I look forward to it. And Marshal, congratulations on the successful conclusion of your wild hunt.
It has been a part of me since I took my first steps, but now my wild hunt is complete. It's time I redefine myself. A rare and unique challenge. But I have the pact to keep me busy. Thank you for all you've done.
So that's really, really interesting, and I feel like didn't have to, but could have found a little bit more space in the story. The concept of his wild hunt being complete and what that actually means. So here's all those folks who helped us out, you know, and there are many others who helped us out as well. Some of them are dead, unfortunately. But all these folks now lined up along here, and including a random Skrit Lobber who's apparently not reading the room and facing the wrong direction. Appears a bit confused. Consistent with Skrit behavior, however. We do get the opportunity much later in the story, towards the end of Season 3, to see more of the impact of this cleansing ceremony. And while that particular story chapter is really out of sync with much of the rest of Season 3 and kind of is just this weird thing that's shoved into the storyline, it is cool to see the changes in Or and what this cleansing ceremony represented and what it did and did not fix. I actually, while I don't like Season 3 at all, if I'm being honest, and I don't particularly like Season 3, Chapter 6, it does give us an opportunity to look at that, and I do appreciate that aspect of it. I don't necessarily hate the map. There are some design issues that I'm not a fan of, But the idea of revisiting ore after the cleansing to see what has changed, I do quite like. That aspect of it I do find rewarding. So, we still need to link back up with Trahearne and kind of find out what does this cleansing mean for us, because the fight's not over, right? Let's see, can we find a spot where we can actually, like, is anyone going to kill us right here? We're good. Alright. What's up, Trahearne? Let's find out. Let's find out what else we still have to do. I don't know what this personal waypoint is, but it's annoying me. Alright, so we can see this as kind of two things happening right here, right? We can see this as either recovery and a degree of celebration from all the battle that has taken place thus far, leading all the way up to the cleansing of ore, or we can view it as final preparations because, again, Zhaitan's still alive and we still have that issue to deal with. We now have the upper hand.
Not ready.
But the glory of Tyria is our flagship. It should be in the fight against Zhaitan. It
Isn't finished yet. By the fair, do you want it to sink like a stone in its first battle?
Your problem. You better hope we win without it, because we may not get another chance.
Okay, that's important dialogue to the story to come. So I'm glad we caught that. Gloria Tyria and at that airship will prove important.
These untested airships.
What? I should gut you just for... Oh, all right. Yes. Some of us are tail-twisted and terrified.
Same here.
Huh?
How do you handle it? I don't want to let anyone down.
Grab the biggest gun you can find. When you're not shooting, you can take cover behind it.
that is somebody who's never carried a big gun. Whoever wrote that little bit of dialogue, let me tell you, I carried a very big gun for a while, and it can be fatiguing. Something people never think about when they think about big guns. They're really heavy. All right, what's up, Saya? That's weird. No, this has nothing to do with you. You're the one who popped up out of nowhere. I'm looking for Trahearne. He is also a solitary creature. Yeah, I mean that's cool. That doesn't change the fact that I have important matters I need to discuss with him. He is, after all, the marshal of the pact.
Where are we with the supplies for the humble? There's a fight coming.
Just a moment, Captain. Casta and Rizyart are slapping a patch on her keel right now.
Steady, Captain Skyfarer. We'll enter the fray soon enough.
We'd better. I'm not letting those other airships have all the fun.
So this whole airship thing, I think, when they present it in the core story, is kind of like, this is a novel technology and it's exciting and it is important to the Pact. But the airship fleet of the Pact will also be important when we get to Heart of Thorns as well. So this really is like, I know they're kind of making a thing out of it, but it really is a thing. The airship fleet and its importance to Pact operations, what it means to the Pact.
Hear that cheering, Commander? Savor it. Today, the Pact has triumphed, and my wild hunt is finally at an end. Praise the Pale Tree. I fear you still have great and terrible things to do. To kill Zhaitan. Not long ago, I would have thought it impossible.
Cleansing ore seemed impossible, but we did it. With allies like ours, ridding the world of Zhaitan will be tough, but not impossible.
Well said. And you can rely on those allies to stand by you to the very end. My wild hunt may be over, but the coalition we've built will fight on. I hereby pledge the entire pact and all its resources to your task. By the Mother Tree and all who have made the ultimate sacrifice, Zhaitan will fall.
Thank you, Marshal. When Zhaitan falls, we'll all be there to see it. Then the celebration can truly begin.
All right. So we are now up to the point when we are prepared to fully go after Zhaitan and engage in that fight. Now, for video purposes, this is where I'm going to create the split between the videos. There's a video that'll wrap up here, and that's because we have one instance left in the core story, but it is actually quite long, so it's going to end up being a video by itself. So while the stream will continue, on the video side, this is where I'll insert a break. So we not only successfully entered Ore via a naval invasion and amphibious assault, but then we succeeded in helping Trahearne finish his wild hunt and cleanse Ore. So we've taken every advantage from the Dragon Zhaitan. Now we need to confront it in battle, and that's where we'll pick up next time.